Hello everyone, welcome to the next video of software engineering terms. Here I will describe more briefly with some other with some other terms. So the first term I want to describe is the rest. It is not the rest that we knew at relaxation. It is the terms, and that rest, the full form of the rest is the representational state transfer. So REST is a way of accessing the data service. REST as an architectural design doesn't require process and is more simple and flexible than the SOAP, which we learned about it in our previous video, which is the Simple Object Access Protocol. SOAP is another standard-based web service access protocol. We heard about it in our previous video, and it is developed by the Microsoft. So REST is much easier and more wide and more simpler than SOAP. About 70% web service API use the REST API, and it is the newcomer to the block which seeks to fix all the problems with SOAP. So REST decoupled architecture and the lighter weight communication between the producer and consumer make REST popular building style for cloud-based API, such as that was provided by our Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. These are all the cloud. This use the cloud-based API, and most of this uses the REST API. When web services use REST architecture, they are called RESTful API, application programming interface, or the REST APIs. When the web services use a REST architecture, it becomes a REST API. So REST architecture involves reading a designed web page that contains an XML file. A XML file describes and includes the desired content. Once dynamically defined, consumer may access that interface. So REST is typically runs over the HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. Most of the API actually runs over this HTTP. We heard about it a previous video that SOAP that is also run on the HTTP. So REST has several architectural constraints. So what are the constraints? It decouples the consumer from producer. The second is the stateless existence. Third, it has ability to leverage a cache. Fourth, it has also ability to leverage a layered system. And fifth is it leverages a uniform interface. So REST is often also used in mobile applications, also used in social networking websites, mashup tools, and automated business processes. A REST style emphasizes that interaction between clients and services are enhanced by having a limited number of operations. Flexibility is provided by assigning resources their own flexibility is provided by assigning resource their own unique universal resource identifier, which is URIs, because each verb is a specific meaning: get, post, put, and delete. Rest avoid ambiguity. So there are some downsides also. So in the world of REST, there is no direct support for generating a client from server-side generated metadata. SOAP is able to support this with the web service description language, which is WSDL. So also we can see that there is many things similarities between the SOAP and REST. SOAP and REST, but also there are some downside of the REST. That is that it doesn't have direct support for generating a client to server generated metadata. So here we'll see that some of the difference between SOAP and REST. So as you can see that in here SOAP, the from client the data goes, data plus SOAP standard make a huge data, and then it goes to the server. So for the REST there is no SOAP standard obviously. So when the client send a data, it send as it is a data for the server. So REST provides the following advantages, specifically advantages over leveraging the SOAP. REST provides more advantages than SOAP. RESTful web services are easy to leverage by most tools, including those are the free and expensive. REST is becoming a dial tone for system interaction, including the use of RESTful web service, which is are the most of the part the way cloud provider externalize the cloud services. So which means that REST is becoming the one of the main factors of the system interaction, including the use of RESTful web services. It is the RESTful because it is the way that the cloud provider externalize their cloud services. So SOAP services are much harder to scale than the RESTful services. It is hard to scale than SOAP, which is the simple object access protocol service. They are much more harder to scale than the RESTful service. Thus, REST has often chosen as an architecture for services that are exposed via the internet, like the Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, and most public cloud provider. Most of the public cloud provider and the famous or many more renowned website or the pages or the cloud provider services, they all use the REST more than the SOAP. The learning curve seems to be reduced. Developers are able to make use of REST from within application faster than they can do this with the SOAP. Many things comes to more faster, more usability and more flexibility when it comes to the REST over SOAP. REST is much faster to work and for making application or to work faster more than the SOAP. So this saves times and this saves monies too. REST uses a smaller message format than SOAP. SOAP uses XML for all messages, which makes the message size much larger and thus less efficient. This means REST provides better performance as well as lower cost over time, and moreover there is no extensive process required. Thus it is much faster than traditional SOAP. REST is designed for use over the open internet web. It is better to choose a web scale application and certainly for cloud-based platforms. So here is a diagram. Here is a diagram of REST API architecture. Here we can see that for any kind of application, Android application, iPhone application or browser application, it sends their data through the JSON or XML. Then when it comes to the HTTP method, they change their tags. They choose their tags. They choose their tags which they will do for sending a data to the app server, like they choose to delete their server or put it something there or get the data from somewhere and post it to the server or custom parameters, and then that HTTP send it to the app server. So this is basically the REST API's architecture. Now here comes the JSON, which is the JavaScript object notation. The JSON is the most common output format for REST API, and we are going to make the REST API which accepts the GET request and gives JSON output. As I talked about it before, that we are going to that REST API. From the REST API, it accepts the get request and then gives a JSON output. We'll create a REST API which requests a particular product price over the URL. The name of the project will be passed as parameter and we'll get the price of that product in JSON format. So the name of product will be passed as a parameter. From the line the object will be passed as parameter. We'll get the price of that product by a JSON format. The tutorial consists of mainly two parts. The first part details with the creation of REST API in PHP, and the second part deals with the consumption of the REST API in PHP. So now we will talk about more, and we will get to know about another terms, and which is JSON. So the JSON is the JavaScript object notation. It is a lightweight data interchange format. It is easy for humans to read and write. It is easy for machines to purchase and generate. It is basically on a subset of a JavaScript programming language. JSON is a text format that is completely language independent but uses conventions that are familiar to the programmer of the C family of language, including C, C++, C#, Java, JavaScript, Perl, Python, and many others. These properties make JSON an ideal data interchange language. JSON is built in two structures: a collection of name, value, and parts. In various languages, they are realized as an object, record, struct, dictionary, hash table, keyed list, and associative array, and also as an order list of value. In most languages, they are realized as an array, vector, list, and sequence. So after this, I like to end this tutorial, and I hope to see I will describe many other terms in my next video. Thank you, everyone.